Investigators are working to determine the cause of death of a 60-year-old man found dead in Lake Mendota this morning. And President Trump is sending a warning to undocumented immigrants and may decide to use a little-known law that would allow the military to remove them from the U.S.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now at noon.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Mark Kane. Thanks for tuning in to News 3 Now at noon on this Friday. We'll get to those stories in just a bit, but storm chances today and throughout the weekend. Let's head over to the Weather Center. Meteorologist Chris Reese has a look at your first alert forecast. Good afternoon, Chris.
Good afternoon, Mark. That's right. We've been watching the storm chances throughout the day. We will be watching those storm chances as we go throughout the rest of the weekend as well. Here's the severe setup for today. We are looking at a marginal risk. That's not a big deal. That's 1 out of 5, but we're looking at a marginal risk for severe weather everywhere you see the dark green. That does include most of southern and western Wisconsin. What we're looking at is the potential for isolated instances of up to 1-inch hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds, or localized flooding as we go through the rest of this afternoon. That trend also continues throughout the weekend. I'll show you that for a second. I'll show you that in a second, rather. We're not really concerned about the tornado threat today. No one really under that risk. Again, the areas that you do see shaded in the brown color, namely southern and western Wisconsin, do have that risk for the hail and the wind. Here's the next 3 days. Notice how the severe threat gradually moves across essentially the southern half of the state going through the weekend. On Saturday, we see that darker green shading move just a little bit farther towards the east. Then on Sunday, the darker green shading is more so across the south and east parts of the state. We're going to be paying attention to that throughout most of the weekend. We've been watching some showers this morning. Most of those have been just to our south. Some drier air coming off the lake has really prevented that from moving towards the north initially, which is good news. However, towards the afternoon, that batch that you see off to the west will likely move in and generate some showers and thunderstorms before starting to move towards the north. But as we go throughout the weekend as a whole, Mark, things are going to be pretty wet. Multiple rounds of showers and thunderstorms are going to come through. We could see an additional 1 to 3 inches of rain throughout parts of the state. So stay tuned to News 3 Now First Alert Weather. We're going to be tracking this all weekend long.
It's pretty much a guarantee at this point.
Yes, it is.
All right, Chris, we'll see you in a few minutes. First at noon, first responders have recovered the body of a 60-year-old man along the Lake Mendota shoreline. Police responded to the area just west of James Madison Park around 7 this morning after someone reported seeing a body floating in the water. Officials say there is no sign of foul play. The Dane County Medical Examiner will determine the cause of death. Houston Texan and former Badger football player J.J. Watt has donated $10,000 to the family of an Appleton firefighter killed in the line of duty. Mitch Lundgaard was shot on Wednesday while responding to someone having a medical emergency on a bus. A GoFundMe page is set up to help support Lundgren's wife and 3 children. So far, it's raised more than $86,000. If you'd like to contribute, you can find the link at Channel3000.com. And fire departments beyond Appleton are supporting those grieving the loss of Lundgaard. The Nina Menasha Fire and Rescue Department sent peer counselors to Appleton fire stations and are helping with staffing. Green Bay sent its fire chief, union president, and chaplain to Appleton. Lundgaard is the first Appleton firefighter in 86 years to die in the line of duty. Officials in rural Dodge County are working to identify 2 suspects in an overnight shooting. It happened in Reeseville. That's about 15 minutes east of Columbus. According to the sheriff's office, 2 men confronted a 26-year-old man and shot him. He's at UW Hospital, expected to be okay. A 6-year-old Milwaukee boy is in critical condition after a shooting last night. Police say he was sitting in a parked car on the city's north side around 10:30 when somebody started shooting. Officials are investigating what started the shooting. No arrests have been made. Well, after the Trump administration unveiled a new plan to change how America lets in legal immigrants, this morning now the president is warning undocumented immigrants that they will be removed from the country. Tweeting this morning, "Please do not make yourselves too comfortable. You'll be leaving soon." The president is reportedly considering using a little-known law to allow the military to round up immigrants already in the U.S. The Insurrection Act allows the president to deploy military troops within the United States to put down lawlessness, insurrection, and rebellion.
Is the administration considering the Insurrection Act?
Look, the president has been very clear. He's going to do everything within his...
Is that a yes or a no?
He is going to do everything within his legal authority to protect the American people and their families across this country. No, I'm just saying there are lots of tools at his disposal. We haven't used them all, and we're looking at ways to protect the American people.
President Trump is also calling on Democrats to support his newly unveiled plan to change the legal immigration system in America, but the proposal does nothing to address the estimated 11 million undocumented immigrants already here. The administration may also be targeting employers who hire undocumented immigrants. Missouri lawmakers are expected to pass anti-abortion legislation today that would make it the 5th state this year to enact a so-called fetal heartbeat bill. It would ban abortions at 8 weeks of pregnancy, even in cases of rape or incest. The only exception, medical emergencies. Missouri's governor is expected to sign the bill. Well, the Bucs are looking to take a 2-0 lead over the Toronto Raptors in the Eastern Conference Finals tonight in Milwaukee. The Bucs were able to fight back for a come-from-behind win in the series' first game on Wednesday night and hope to take a commanding lead in the series before heading to Toronto. Tip-off is set for 7:30 tonight at the Pfizer Forum. And if you're planning a trip to California soon, you could book a stay at a new pop-up Taco Bell hotel coming to Palm Springs. Dreams of eating a Chalupa Supreme while sunbathing on a fire sauce floaty will soon be a reality. From check-in to check-out, there'll be Taco Bell hops, poolside Taco Bell-inspired cocktails, and of course, room service with exclusive menu items.
Well, we're thrilled. I mean, they chose Palm Springs, Greater Palm Springs, to be the location for their first pop-up hotel, The Bell. And we're hoping people can find their taco oasis in Greater Palm Springs.
All right, the pop-up hotel will open August 9th for just 5 days. You can get more information at tacobell.com. And there's more to come on News 3 Now at noon. Up next, we'll see what Howard's working on in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
Looking for a side dish that is simply smashing? We've got it, and these are as much fun to make as they are to eat. For years, we've been taught to be gentle when working in the kitchen. Well, today, I want you to throw those thoughts out, since the dish we're making today gets its big personality when we smash it. And when I say smash it, I mean in a good way. We begin by boiling a couple pounds of small white potatoes. Once they're tender, we drain them well. And while they cool, we whisk together some melted butter with a bit of chopped parsley, some minced garlic, a little salt and pepper, and a good amount of Parmesan cheese. Now for the fun part, we place our potatoes on a couple of baking sheets, and with the heel of our hand or with a large spoon, we gently smash the potatoes like this. The key is to smash it, but still keep it in one piece. We brush these with our butter mixture, and into a hot oven they go to crisp up. In about 20 minutes or so, we end up with potatoes that are crispy on the outside, tender as can be on the inside, and packed with flavor. So here's what I suggest. Go to our website and get the recipe for what we call Parmesan smashed potatoes. I'm Howard of the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a smashing way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
Thank you, Howard. Cooler with a chance of storms today, and today is an alert day with possible severe weather coming through Sunday. Chris Reese will share all the details coming up next in your first alert forecast. Our Call for Action phone bank is open right now, ready to take on your consumer issues. You can call the hotline. Volunteers will help you with any consumer complaints. The number is 608-270-2833. The service is open every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday between 11 and 1. A new foldable phone is preparing to relaunch after issues with the first model. Dan King Hall shares the details in today's Money Watch report.
After stacking up 3 days of gains, stocks are ending the week like they started, with losses. Trade tensions continue to loom, with China's Commerce Ministry saying the U.S. is demonstrating, quote, bullying behavior. The White House says it will delay duties on cars and auto parts from the European Union and Japan. The Trump administration threatened to slap tariffs on some cars and car parts over what it said were national security concerns. Auto industry insiders cried foul, saying the duties would jeopardize jobs and raise prices for consumers. Meanwhile, the White House has released President Trump's annual financial disclosure. The president reported income of at least $434 million in 2018. That includes $40 million in revenue from his Trump International Hotel in Washington, D.C. The president also reported holding outstanding debt of at least $315 million. And Samsung has reportedly found a fix for flaws in the highly anticipated Galaxy Fold phone. According to a Korean news site, the company solved the problem of it breaking easily by tucking the device's protective film under the body of the phone. The Galaxy Fold is now slated for a possible relaunch as early as next month. And that's your CBS Money Watch report. For more, head to cbsmoneywatch.com. At the New York Stock Exchange, I'm Diane King Hall.
Thanks, Diane. The Dow Industrials are up 25 points at the noon hour. The NASDAQ, though, down 28. The S&P 500 also down 2. Let's check in now with Q106 Farm Director Pam Yankee. She is in the radio suite on this Friday. Hello to you.
Hello. Yes, in my galoshes with my umbrella close, because that forecast Chris was talking about, it's got the traders talking in Chicago. 3 to 7 inches of rain being forecast by the National Weather Service from Texas all the way up the central portion of the United States, Missouri, Iowa, South Dakota, Minnesota, and Wisconsin. And that's got them talking about it being the 17th day of May and a lot of acres that have yet to be planted. Now, remember, I've been telling you that we've got the technology and the ability to plant acres as soon as fields are ready, but you can't just snap your fingers once the rain stops and get out there and start planting. You've got to wait until the ground is right. I'm afraid that's going to have a lot of our Wisconsin farmers either rethinking what they're going to plant or maybe forced to the point of prevented plant declarations. We'll start getting some of those reports and numbers by the front part of June. Markets are firmer on the midday with the exception of soybeans. One of the reasons we're seeing soybeans soften is more and more reports of African swine fever that's showing up in Southeast Asia. Vietnam, just the latest to give an update on the tally on the number of hogs that are lost. If those hogs die, that means that they don't have the need for feed like what we had been supplying them. So that's part of the reason why the beans are down. And it's also getting to be that time of the year where world market starts channeling their attentions towards Brazil more than the United States. Dairy today in Chicago, kind of interesting. Right now, fluid milk contracts, I just looked, they are up double digits, more than 20 cents higher, June, July, August milk. So that's quite a little different than the numbers that I gave you here. But barrel cheese today also gained a penny and a quarter at 162.5. 40-pound block cheese was up a penny and a half at 167.25. The AA butter, though, did an about face, dropped 4.5 cents down to $2.34 a pound, which is still doing pretty well as far as our overall dairy trends. But yeah, Mark, when you start talking about anything over an inch at this stage in the game, that means we have to take 2 steps back when it comes to fields that are ready for planting. So it looks like we're going to keep those planters and that farm equipment parked until well into next week, depending on what I hear from Chris next.
Yeah, unfortunately, that seems to be the case. All right, you're off Monday, I hear?
Yeah, I'll be up in Wausau, so I'll catch up with you on Tuesday.
All right, have a great weekend.
Thanks.
Thank you. Here is Chris with that weekend forecast.
Yeah, we do have multiple rounds of rainfall that are going to be on the way. We see some of the cloud cover outside right now. It has been gray all morning. Temperatures haven't moved much either with the cloud cover. We're at 52 degrees right now. Winds coming out of the east and southeast at 6 miles per hour. Here's the overall setup. You see those winds coming off the lake. That's working to bring in that cooler, drier air. And notice as you work your way towards the east, that's where those temperatures are, of course, a couple degrees colder. Back towards the west, it's upper 50s. And even some low 60s starting to show up. That northeasterly wind has brought in the drier air. So the clouds, or the showers rather, have had a hard time working their way in this morning. But now we're starting to see that take place with this next little batch moving in from the west. That is what's going to bring at least the initial round of showers and thunderstorms moving into the afternoon. That's also where we have that marginal risk for severe storms. It's right along Madison and towards the south and west. Towards the north and east, you may see a few rumbles of thunder or hear a few rumbles of thunder, but we're not expecting that weather to be severe. The worst weather will be across parts of the plains, Nebraska to South Dakota. That's where they could really be feeling the tornado threat later on. For us, we're not really concerned about tornadoes. It's actually the hail and the damaging wind potential, which again is a very low threat, but a few of you could see some isolated reports of that. Then as we go through the rest of the weekend, it's not just today, but also Saturday and into Sunday. We're going to be dealing with that potential for severe weather. Notice how that moves from the west and then towards the east as we go throughout the weekend. The reason for that is our overall setup. We do still have a stalled front just to our south. Several waves of low pressure are going to be riding along that. But into your Saturday, this stalled front begins to move to the north as a warm front. That does also mean some warming temperatures into the weekend as well. But in the meantime, we are watching the satellite as multiple storm systems begin to blossom up. This right here, infrared satellite, is just showing you the cloud cover. Now we had a big cluster of showers and thunderstorms just to our south earlier on. That's died off for now. Expect that to pulsate back up as we move into the afternoon and evening. In fact, here's where we'll start to see some of those showers moving in. This is about 3 o'clock or so, and it's not going to be a complete washout. Not everyone may even get wet from those. It's kind of going to be off and on. Later on in the weekend, though, that's when things become more wet. This is tomorrow in the morning. We may see a little line of showers and thunderstorms that comes on through, but watch Saturday night and into Sunday. That's where we're going to get the heaviest rain into the region. That's the actual storm system moving on through. That gives us a break on Monday as it moves to the east, but then here comes the next system into Tuesday. That also has the chance to bring some severe weather with it. And between the two systems overall, we're looking at perhaps several inches of rain across Wisconsin. This is just through the weekend, and then perhaps another inch or two earlier on next week. And so we'll begin to see more and more of those rain totals, and it begins to add up over time. As you heard Pam Yankee say, as much as 3 to 7 inches of rain being forecast by the Weather Prediction Center just across the plains and the upper Midwest as a whole. 3 alert days in your forecast today, tomorrow, Sunday, 1 break on Monday, and then Tuesday and Wednesday. Again, I will say it does have a little bit of a severe weather look to it, so we'll be watching that. Memorial Day weekend looks great.
Well, it's going to be a while till we get there.
It will be a while till we get there, but I guess that's what we can hold on to for now.
All right. Thank you, Chris. As National Police Week comes to a close, a Kansas officer is being recognized for how she's helping kids. We'll share that story when News 3 Now at noon continues. A police officer with a big heart handing out small care packages to our community's youngest victims as part of National Police Week. Leavenworth, Kansas officer Sarah Moreno is being honored for going above and beyond. Sharifa Jackson has her story.
People look at us in a different sort of limelight, and some it's good and bad, but it's good to see, I guess, a good limelight of a police officer doing something great.
She says it doesn't take much.
You can get them for $1 at the Walmart, $1 at the dollar store.
A stuffed animal toting a plastic junior police badge, Royals baseball cards, but most importantly,
that says my name. On the back of it you can't see, but it's got the non-emergency phone number, and then it's got 911 on it.
Officer Sarah Moreno, a patrol officer with Leavenworth PD, says she keeps them in her car. The special care package is created to help victimized children. During the course of her young career, something she has dealt with a lot.
Usually victims of a sexual crime or something serious, and we have to come in there and be professional. And at the same time, you have the condolences that you would have for that child as well, because they're going through this and this is the worst time of their life. So I tried to figure out a way that I could make just that little part of that worst time of their life be a little better.
A selfless act that's getting noticed not only from the community, but through her peers. Leavenworth Police Chief Pat Kitchens awarding Moreno with a Police Recognition Award before city leaders Wednesday. Moreno praised for going beyond her job description with an attitude to match.
It felt good. It felt good. This is a humbling profession, but in those types of situations, it does feel good that I did something to make somebody else feel good.
And Moreno estimates she has given out more than 50 care packages and says she has no plans to stop. Good for her. All right, Chris, one final check of the forecast.
Yeah, we're going to be watching the weather throughout the weekend as a whole, as I do suspect things to be pretty active. I think the most active time period during the weekend is going to come Saturday night and then throughout Sunday. So if you're planning this afternoon or early on Saturday, for the most part, you're just going to have to play dodge a little bit with some spotty showers, but that's not going to be the worst time frame at all. Again, that's going to be Saturday night into Sunday when we see the bulk of the rainfall come through. A little bit of a break in the action on Monday. Then we're watching Tuesday and Wednesday for another round of showers and thunderstorms. Some of those do have the potential to be severe. By next weekend, though, things look a little bit better.
All right, keep an eye on the sky this weekend. That's our time for now. We'll see you back here at 4. Have a great afternoon.